Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is of course time for a shop tour. We are right here in our second week in May 9th. Thursday, May 9th. The weather couldn't be better. We're about in the 70s and sunny. I know I like to give a weather report every week for some reason. Whatever, makes me feel good. That's all that matters. This is my channel. I get to say what I want. So anyway, weather's nice, beautiful. We actually had some severe storms that basically went around Topeka, and we got no rain this week basically, so we could use a little rain, but apparently it was like pretty bad hail and stuff all around us, so we missed that, so that's good. So anyway, shop tour time. Just finished up, and actually 5 minutes before we started the shop tour, the truck came to pick up the engine that was sitting here. Now you guys didn't get to see it last week, but it's actually Louis Bustani out of Florida had me build him a e-production engine for his Miata, and between last Thursday and this Thursday it is completely done, so you guys didn't get to see anything, but it all turned out great. In the crate, just left, should be there in a couple days, so Louis will see it first of the week and we'll be looking good. So in the meantime, what I've been focusing on is finishing up Doug Weaver's car. You can see I've got it on the scales, got the corner weights all done. He had actually put in some helper springs to keep the springs up against the perches, and so re-corner weighted everything. Obviously you can see I've got the springs going on here. I've got my fancy ballast in the seat, which is the only rotary thing that you're going to see in my shop these days. That's the best use for old rotary side plates these days for me. So just going to finish this up, and then tomorrow morning get it on the dyno, because he will be here next week. He's coming from Canada, coming to Topeka, and then he's going to Mid-Ohio for the Super Tour next week. So he's got some driving ahead of him in the next week or so, but we should be looking good. Engine seems good. Alignment's coming in. Obviously, if you've been watching, we got a new diff, new transmission, a lot of good new stuff in the car for Doug for this season, so he's going to get after it. Last week, you saw the silver T4 NC car, and I said, the car is sold, you're not going to see it again, and there's something else coming down the pipe. So you guys are going to remember this car from earlier this season. The guy that ended up buying it from the Huffmasters did not fit in the car, and so he called me and he said, you know, I should have flown to Michigan and sat in the car because I just don't fit in the car. I'm too big of a guy to fit in this car. He's been fiddling with the seat, he just doesn't fit, and so we ended up trading. So I've got the Huffmaster STU car in the shop that I now own. What am I going to do with this car, right? I'm going to try and sell it first. So if this was about 2 years down the road, this would probably end up being the next number 34. You know how that's my car number, guys, right? You've been paying attention, right? That's what I think about this car. I feel like this car was last run at the runoffs in 2017, and Rob Huffmaster was on the pole, was leading the race hands down, and ended up having a clutch problem. So after that race, they fixed the clutch. I was looking through the logbook, they did a couple of weekends to shake it down, but it hasn't really run since. The guy from Texas bought it. Remember, I had it here early this spring, late winter, early spring. Kind of got it checked over, and he took it down, did a couple of test days, and actually says the car is freaking amazing, right? He's like, and it's an amazing car. Everything works perfect. The transmission's good. The brakes are awesome. Everything's awesome, but he doesn't fit in the car. He's too big of a guy. If you ever met Rob Huffmaster, you know he's a pretty small guy. Now, that being said, I am 5'11", maybe a tick more, about 180 pounds, and I fit in the car perfect. That's another reason why I'm thinking to myself, I should just hang on to this car. I don't need another race car. So I haven't advertised it because I've been calling around. There's probably a couple of you out there that I have texted or called about this car. I've been just kind of putting feelers out, and I think I might have someone that wants it. Probably no more next week. but I've got, so the wheels and tires that are on it, 2 brand new wheels for the rear, 2 good used end keys for the front. You can see all of the control arms, and man, I've got stuff and more stuff. There are brake master cylinders, clutch masters, there's brake pads, there's coils, there's transmission parts, there's just tons of stuff. You can see all the control arms. This car comes with a lot of stuff. I don't know that you could duplicate this car for probably 6 figures. And the beauty is I'm into this car for not a ton of money. So for about in the 30s, you could have a car that there is no doubt in my mind can win the runoffs in STU, especially at these long tracks that we go to, because it's kind of shocking what kind of horsepower this car makes. Really cool, supercharged. King Racing, King built the motor. It's got that HKS supercharger on it, super low boost, spec'd for STU. I know I'm talking a lot about this car. I think this car is just bad to the bone. I think it's an amazing car. So if you're interested in something like that, this is going to be the last car that I sell this year. I'm kind of getting tired of selling race cars. I need to spend most of my efforts working on everything else. So let's move on the shop tour. So you can see I've got a custom car cover for Ken Kennard's Integra. So this is an all-weather cover made for an Integra, fits perfect. It does come with this little piece of material, and what I'm going to do is get this car cover centered up on the car. I'm going to mark where this antenna is, and I'm going to get this installed, make the hole just a little bit bigger, and get this sewn into the top of this cover. So this thing is super custom, but this will protect the car from wind, rain, fits perfect. I love car covers like this that fit properly. Yeah, they're a little expensive, but you know what? So's your race car, right? You've spent a lot of money on your race car as well. Okay, Mazda 2 update. Oh, for starters, yeah, Steven, your car's still sitting over here because I have to get Doug Weaver's done off the lift and delivered, and then you're going onto the main lift. So we'll probably see a lot more action next week when we get to that. Patience, patience. Okay, 15 minutes a day. What have I gotten done in the last week? Oil change and filter. Boy, I'll tell you what, whenever you get home from Hallett, you realize how dusty that racetrack is. There's just dirt everywhere. So I haven't done my final cleaning or anything on the car, but I'm working on a dead pedal for the car for my left foot. I should have that completed by next week. I'll be able to show you guys that. I can't remember if we talked about it, but I think we did. We were talking about the rubber hoses, right? We were talking about the clutch line. We were talking about the brake lines. So you can see I've got brand new braided brake lines, and I pitched the rubber ones, so they're gone. But the most exciting thing that has come in this week is my close ratio gear set for the transmission. What am I going to do about this, right? I have my close ratio gear set. I have my new ring and pinions, and I have this crusty looking junkyard transmission. I think I'm going to attempt to get this built before the June sprints. I took apart the original transmission that came in the car just as a check it over. So that was the first time I've ever taken one of these apart. This is going to be the second. So I think I'm going to delay my engine project here a little bit. Waiting on some new pistons for that anyway. And I think I'm going to get into this transmission, see if I can figure this out, because I think it's going to work good, and I'd really like to test it before we go to the runoffs. Obviously, number one rule when you're going to the runoffs, don't change stuff. You're just asking to get bit. So the only other thing that I have going on is I actually had my don't know if you guys have ever heard of this place. It's called Turn 14 Distribution. They are an online parts seller, right? Look them up and you'll see what I'm talking about. So Turn 14 Distribution is a place that I get all sorts of stuff from. You can get ARP stuff. Sometimes you can get Cometic head gaskets. You can get brakes. You can get, man, they've got tons of stuff. Check it out. Turn 14 Distribution. But I ended up getting a deal on a couple sets of brake rotors for the Mazda 2. So now I've got some spare brake rotors. I'm big about having spares, so I'm working on that. You can see I've got the battery charger trickling on the battery. And so the car's actually looking really good for the Ozarks. Still have to get that other set of tires mounted, but I think I'm going to tackle this transmission job. I don't really know of anybody that's done one before. I've made a couple of calls asking people, and people are like, eh. That's the thing about this car, right? Nobody's done one yet. But I'm a firm believer that these cars are going to be a big part of the future of H production. And so I am going to spend the time to learn about these transmissions. I'm already working on the engine package. We're all working on all sorts of things. So I think I'm going to dive into this tranny because I've got all these exciting parts and pieces that I want to test, like I said, for the Sprint. So, but that's just my 15 minutes a day, right? I'm just chipping away on this thing like I always do. So what do I always say? 15 minutes a day makes things go quick and easy. So keep after it. Hope to see some of you at Ozarks in 3 weeks is our race there. So we'll be getting ready for that. And then we're going to have, actually have a little motorcycle trip I'm going on with some friends. And then we'll have just a couple of weeks before the sprints. So we're going to have a super busy June. I'm going to see what I can get done on obviously all of this. Here we are still in May. We've got some time with Steven's car, with Eric's car. Doug's will be gone, and then we'll have Ken's car in process as well. The transmissions did leave for Ken's, headed down to Florida. Actually just got notification today that the guy received them. So we're going to be working on that. I got all the bits and pieces now for this car. We're going to get it jacked up and get to working on it. And we might just happen to see the GT1 Camaro in the next couple of weeks too. I think it might be a big might, but I think our goal is going to be maybe to get that car ready to go to the sprints as well, and maybe even the Ozarks. We'll see. So it's that time of year, right guys? Super busy. Race season's upon us. Keep after it. Hope to see you at the track. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.